Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And I'm tabling two petitions today. Just following my colleague, I'm also tabling a petition regarding the opioid crisis. As you know, Mr. Speaker, the opioid crisis is taking the lives of so many preventable deaths. And the petitioners recognizes that this crisis needs to be dealt with, and for the Canadian government to declare a national health emergency. They also calling for action, and they're calling on the government to take steps to end the overdose deaths and overdose injuries, and to immediately collaborate with provinces and territories to develop a comprehensive pan-Canadian overdose action plan. They also want to ensure that the plan considers reforms that other countries have used, such as legal regulation of drugs to ensure safe supply, decriminalization for personal use, and changes to the flawed drug policy and policing practices. We want to ensure that this emergency is taken seriously and with adequate programming and supports. Lives matters. We can actually end the overdose crisis if we want to. The other petition, Mr. Speaker, that I'm tabling is with respect to Indigenous housing. The petitioners recognize that over 80% of Indigenous people live in urban, rural, and northern communities, and that Indigenous peoples are 11 times more likely to use a homeless shelter. And the petitioner recognizes that in 2017, the National Housing Strategy did not include any specific funding or strategies or policies for urban and rural Indigenous housing, even though the mandate letter for the minister specifically outlines such a strategy. So the Canadian Housing Renewal Association and its Indigenous Caucus have put forward a number of suggestions for the government to act on, and these include for the government to develop a for Indigenous, by Indigenous National Housing Centre, to increase the supply of stable, safe, affordable housing by building 73,000 new units of housing for urban, rural, and northern Indigenous peoples, and to support the tenants' well-being and long-term success with wraparound Indigenous services, to accelerate action on Indigenous homelessness, and with a focus on northern housing.